Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you the basics of how to use Microsoft Sway. So firstly, how do we get to Sway? So from my home college portal, I'm going to click on the Office 365 portal. And then from here, there's a little square in the top left made up of some dots. That's the app launcher. I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to choose Sway. So this is the Sway homepage. I'm going to create one from scratch. So I'm going to click Create New. And here's where I'm going to put the title of my Sway. So I'm going to be doing a presentation about how to use Sway. So the title is going to be How to Use Sway. And as it's my title page, I'm going to make the writing bold by highlighting the text, and I'm going to click Emphasize here. And I can click off it if I don't like it emphasized, but I'm going to leave it on bold. If I wanted it to be in italics or accented, I could do that, but I'm not going to do that. So a good thing about Sway is that I can click on here, background, which is basically, it's asking me if I want to add a background image. And I can search in Sway's kind of pre-stocked images for something that I can use in my presentation. So I'm going to type in the search box in the top right, presentation, and click on a picture that I like. So I can scroll up and down to have a look through them, but I quite like the look of this one anyway. So I'm going to click on that and click add in the top right. So now I want to have a look at what that looks like as a presentation. To do that, I'm going to click in the top left here, the tab that says Design. Now, this is kind of my title page at the minute. I don't really like how it looks. So to change the style of it, there's a button in the top right here called Styles. I'm going to click on that. Here I can decide whether or not it's going to present vertically, which means when I create more slides, I'll be able to scroll down to go through the slides, horizontally, where I'd click left and right to go through the slides, or just as slides, which is what I'm going to do. I'm doing a presentation, so I'm just going to use slides. And then again in styles, I can scroll down to this bit here where Sway kind of gives me a number of templates that I can use. Don't like any of them at the minute, so I'm just going to pick one that I like. Yeah, that one's not too bad, but let's say I don't like the font or the color. I can scroll back up to here where it says customize. And in here, I've got the option to change the color palette if I want to. So I can scroll through these, see which ones I like. Yeah, that one's not too bad. I can change the font if I want to by clicking on the drop-down menu under font choices. Heron, that'll do. That's all right. I can change the animation emphasis, which is basically how much it moves whenever it comes up on the screen when it's playing. You can change that from intense to subtle. So if you don't want it moving around too much when it first comes up, then you can kind of lower that down to subtle. But I'm going to put it as intense. And then because it's my title page, I'm going to make the text really big. So under text size, I can change the slider to large. And that's my first page done. So now I want to add some more slides. Okay, so to create some more slides, I'm going to click on Storyline in the top left here, which brings me back to this page. I'm just going to click the X there to get rid of that for now. And to create another slide, I just need to click this plus button here. And I can choose which one I want. I'm going to give it a title, so I'm going to choose heading. And it's going to be create my first slide. Again, I can choose a background picture. So let's go with study, something like that. That one looks okay, so I'll pick that one and click add. If I didn't want to use any of these stock pictures and I had a picture from my OneDrive, say that I'd found on Google or similar, then to use what's on my OneDrive, I can either go through this drop-down menu here and select OneDrive, or I can click on this drop-down arrow here, which is next to details. And I can click on the image, and there's a bin here in the right. I can just delete the picture that I've got already in there. and then click add background, and I can simply just open up my OneDrive and drag and drop into there, and that'll create it for me. So now I want to give it some text, so some information that I'm going to present with. Within this grey box, I'm going to stay within here, and I'm going to click the plus button that is available to me, and I'm going to click text. So I want my text to be in bullet points, similar to any presentation. So now I just need to click bullets, and it gives me my first bullet point. So I'm just going to type anything in here, clicking the plus button, and then to add another bullet point, I'm just going to hit enter on the keyboard, which gives me another one. Drag and drop images, and again using Sway's stock images. Okay, so that's my first slide done. I want to have a look at it. So again, I'm going to go up here and see design. That's what it looks like now. Now that I've got a few slides, I can use these arrows to scroll left and right to kind of have a look at what my actual presentation looks like. These look a little bit dry, these bullet points. I might want them to stick out a little bit more. So to do that, I go back to Storyline and I go into the card I've just created. And in the right here of the card, there's just left of the bin. I can set the emphasis on this card to moderate. So it makes the text a little bit bigger. And then if I go back to design there, it kind of makes it a little bit more funky, gives it a bit more color and puts these lines around it. I prefer the look of that, to be honest. Okay, so that's my second slide done. So if I want to create that's my first slide done. If I want to create a second slide, then I'm going to move my cursor outside of the grey box until the line appears underneath. So I'm just going to do that again for you. So the line appears there. Click on the line, and then again, it gives me a couple of options. So as is a presentation, I'm going to do another heading. I'm going to put adding my second slide. I'm going to pick an image again. So study, add. And then just a quick note on the pictures themselves. I can change the focus points of them if I want by clicking on focus points within the card. This basically shows how the picture is going to look within the Sway. So if it's on a mobile or a laptop or computer screen, I can click on the picture here to decide where the focus point of the picture is going to be. So they can you can put more than one focus point on there. Changing the size of it, things like that. You can reset if you want to get rid of your focus points if you don't like them, or you can just kind of put one in there and drag and drop, and that'll kind of put the image where you want it to be. And then once again, I'm just going to add some information in here. Text, going for bullets. I can do numbers as well as if I want, and just using the focus points. And that is kind of the basics. So now let's say I want to see what my whole presentation looks like. In the top right here, I can click play. And there we go, it's doing its stuff. If I want to go to my next slide, I can click the right arrow while I present. Create my first slide. I can go again. Here's my bullet points. So this is what I present on. Talking about clicking the plus button, the drag and drop images, etc. Moving on to the next slides. And it's as easy as that. If I want to go off the main presentation, I'll just hit escape on my keyboard. And if I want to share it with, say I'm working on a presentation with a couple of my colleagues or peers, I can click share in the top right here. And I can choose either specific people or groups, which is where I would have to choose, again, specifically the people or groups that I want to share it with. Those in the organisation with the link, which is basically anyone with a whole college login, or anyone with a link, which would just be anyone of any email address. And I can either press this button to copy the link itself and just paste it into an email or on Teams, or I can click get visual link, which will give me this, and once I paste it, it will look like this rather than a link, which is a bit more professional. I can also, if someone wants to see the kind of it just as a Word document, or if I want it as a Word document while I present, just so I can look at the paper rather than the screen, I can click these three dots here in the top right, I can click export, and I can choose either Word or PDF. So I'm going to let it export to Word. Then it's going to download for me if I open it up. There it is in a Word format. So it shows me the title page, the title of the first slide and the image I've used with it, the title of the second slide and the image I've used with it with the bullet points, etc. And that's about it. It's quite an initiative tool, quite easy to use, and those are the absolute basics that you need to create a presentation.